but it's good with my Mac. I do like ones for the recording, but then I just turn over here, and then I got my iMac right here. So I just like I got a whole like a guy in the chair setup going on.
Now we just need to get that intern.
100%. That's one day. That's be my goal. That's so weird when I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm on the left and you're on the right. How is it for you when you're watching us right now?
You're on the bottom. I'm on top.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you, let's see. Speaker view, gallery. I only have the speaker view in the gallery. That's great.
You know what? I wonder, like, how crazy it would be to like put an ad out to like a college or university and say, hey, if you want to do volunteer work that you want to use, like, we're looking for a tech guy just to handle our tech and like our recording stuff while we're doing our podcast. Could you imagine? Because I mean, a lot of people could take that and use it as experience.
That'd be nice. You just have to find someone trustworthy though, right? To do everything and be on time and stuff
Guy
like that.
scratching his shoulders, like
Yeah.
twitching out.
It's rat soup.
Rat soup. I'd take rat soup
Yeah.
easily.
You're probably pretty good. Okay, I am gonna hit record. You ready to go?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Clone Wars Season 7 review. Season review, spoilers review. I don't care because this was a good episode. I am the freshly showered Travis now. That's why if you're watching a video, I brought the Daredevil hat back after like 2 years because my hair just awful. It's in a stage right now. I'm gonna introduce our guest in a second. You know, he's been with me for every episode, but it's in a stage right now where I'm growing it out. Actually, introduce yourself, Taylor.
Yeah, guest bullshit. We've been on a journey together through this Clone Wars. I
Oh, I may have lost Taylor. Where'd you go? You back, Taylor?
I can hear you.
You were gone for that whole time. You
I can hear
froze.
you talking the whole time. You're like, oh, you're gone. I'm like, no, I'm here.
I just saw you go. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, introduce yourself again.
I am the Taylor Cottle Nighterfield.
Yeah, Taylor's a beast. We got 3 wins last night, and then
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
like got 3 hours of sleep, and then he was back to playing COD. So yeah, fans for the if you're watching the video, we're trying out Zoom, so we're trying out all this stuff so we can get live eventually. Because who knows when it's going to be. Taylor, just for your note, I open up the chat, so in case you ever die again on Zoom, I'll let you know. So as we said from the beginning, this is all new stuff. We've tried Skype, we've tried Discord, so this is our next one. So for you, the fans, we're trying that out. But anyway, so with like COVID life going on, my plan was to grow out my hair, maybe to the stream. So I've been growing out since I don't know, maybe at the beginning of January, and my idea was almost going to grow it like over a year. So I was going to have long hair. I was inspired by Kylo Ren. Shout out to Star Wars, get that long flowing hair. I've been dyeing it bleach blonde, so that's like just kind of my look right now. But I can't. People, I've found this out. Even if you have long hair, you got to get it cut because you got to get it layered. But then also, I am not getting any of my hair dye. So one, my hair is just a disasters in like the super awkward stage right now because I can't get it layered all. But then also the roots are starting to come in, so I got like a weird look going on. So I'm not a fan of what's going on in the COVID life right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that's a little update on Travis's life. So Taylor, what is going on Facebook, and where can they find us on the interwebs before we talk about Clone Wars? Because man, we got a juicy one to talk about today.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Clone Wars, you gotta get on our Facebook. You gotta check out our Facebook poll going on. I got a funny little story actually to tell you guys in regards to that. It actually gave me a heart attack. So,
You got 2 screw ups this past week.
I know, 2 screw ups. Well, the second wasn't, well, I guess it's a screw up kind of, but I bounced back.
Posted the same poll. I would say that's a screw up.
Well, that was a screw up, but the second screw up wasn't too bad. So like I work until like 4:30, and yeah, I don't get home till probably about like 5-ish. And
PM.
Yeah, 5-ish PM. And so the poll usually, it goes up at like 6. And sometimes I try to get it done in the morning for you guys and schedule it. And other times I try to get it done like right when I get home. And so I got home, and I had just wiped everything off of my old desktop computer and just hooked up my brand new desktop. And I had backed everything up onto my hard drive. And then when I had plugged in it, because I'm no longer going to work off of like my storage on my computer, I'm just going to work off my hard drives now. So I plugged in my hard drive. I'm like, okay, I got GeekVerse thumbnails, GeekVerse network stuff, like all this crazy like amount of work. And then I'm like, okay, where are the polls? They weren't there. And I
Where are the
absolutely
polls?
lost my shit. So I had now 25 minutes to just punch out a poll and get it built. And so that's why it looks incredibly different now. But you can't complain that you can't see the characters' faces anymore. So that's been fixed. So there you go.
I don't think anyone knows, thank goodness. They probably just thought, oh, it's just a change up. But yeah, and then the other thing you had was you posted the same poll one day. So you've been on a roll, but you know what? You're working hard because those are some big, massive polls. So
yeah,
and what round are we in now for the viewers?
Oh God.
3, right?
Yeah, we're in round 3, and I'm trying to think. Right now, it's
quarterfinals or pre-quarterfinals.
I think it's like the pre-quarterfinals because right now it's Anakin versus R2, and if I am correct, tonight at 6 p.m. on the dot, it is gonna drop to General Grievous versus Darth Maul, which I think is like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that's a spicy one, but Maul's gonna take it, especially with this hype right now.
Oh yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, like Taylor said, check out Facebook and Twitter. That's where you can find us all. Check out the polls that's popping off. My prediction is since day one that Obi-Wan's gonna win, and I think it's gonna happen because just even last night, someone's like, "Oh man, I can't believe like it was like Anakin versus R2." It's like this is tougher than I thought, which for that person might be, but Anakin just creamed R2. So
that's the kind of person that like goes to the restaurant and spends like an hour on the menu. Just these are all such good choices. I don't know what to do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, check out lots of stuff. Make sure you go down the description because the video audio feeds are there. We're doing a lot of stuff. We reviewed Dragon Ball Broly last week. We've done this thing where if you join our Patreon right now, the $1 tier, the $5 tier, the $25, whether it's Back to Formula, the Foggy Fighters, best tier yet, whatever tier you want. We're usually it's only $25 tier, but we're reviewing any movie you pick in honor of COVID because we have no movies, no new ones to do. So we've done that. We've done Snowpiercer. We've done Darkman. We've done a bunch of stuff. Next week, we're going to be doing Dragon Ball Evolution, which is good for you, Taylor, because you watched that already.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, so that we got that going on. And shout out to, like I said, the new patron that's joined. Shout out to Carl Ritchie, who joined last week as a $1 patron, and he loved a Dragon Ball episode, so he upped himself to a $5 tier. So you guys have just been great supporting us because there's nothing new to really support us other than Clone Wars and other stuff. So we really appreciate that. So big shout out to all you guys. And like I said, if you want to jump on even for a month, all you can do, like, this is a solid deal. You can jump on for $1 right now, enjoy all the content. You got Howard the Duck retro, you got Catwoman retro, you got other early episodes. It's $5 you want the commentary track, because $5 we have Mortal Kombat and Suicide Squad. In a few days, when May kicks in, Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire, the first one's going up, that commentary track. And I think other than the Room one that you, me, and Dylan did, that's probably my favorite commentary track we've ever done, because you, me, and Kirklin had a ball on that one. There's so many memes, so many stuff. So you want to get on there. But like I said, even for a month, enjoy the $1, and then you can give us a movie. We got a newscast coming up. We got lots of stuff to talk about, some Star Wars stuff right there. But yeah, we got lots of stuff popping off. Taylor, anything else to shout before we get going?
No, that's pretty much it. I wish that we could give away, like, to a diehard fan, like a free week of Patreon, like, exclusive. Just let them have at it, and then like give them a taste and like, okay, yeah, if you want more, like join up or something, or just kind of like incentive to kind of like get people hyped or something. I guess
maybe we'll do a contest this time. We'll figure that out. Maybe we'll let Spider-Man drop, because I don't know when our next commentary drop is going to be, because we were going to do BVS, but I don't want to really do them over the interwebs because of problems. I'd still down to do a commentary track, but I'd probably want to do something where it's not as like one of the ones we promised us being in person. So
yeah,
we might have to do a substitute. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe what we'd have to do some contest where we'd have to say like here's one: find in the past 2 months an episode that Taylor was on, but he didn't say a single word. And that would be fun for people.
Oh yeah,
because there's one of those fans. There's one episode out there where we recorded me, Kirkland, Dylan, and Taylor, and Taylor's audio didn't work, so I had to edit him out of the entire podcast. So that'd be fun, something like that. Someone hit us up and be like, "Oh, is it this one? Is it that one?" So and
he's just saying audio didn't work, but everyone disagreed with me, so they just deleted me from the episode.
Yeah. And I got it all. I think I went back and edited, but there was one at like the hour and something mark where it's like, "What do you think, Taylor?" And it was like 10 seconds of dead air, and it's like, "Oh, I forgot this one," but I left it in because I'm like, we might do that contest one day, so it's a fun trivia fact, and it's deep in the episode. You won't know so you listen to it. But let's talk about the main event today. Let's talk about IMDb's highest rated Clone Wars episode of the day, The Phantom Apprentice. It's already number 1.
Oh my
Crazy.
god.
I want to go. Let me just see what number 2 is. I'm wondering if Old Friends Not Forgotten. Yeah, people are completely right in this situation. That's a spoiler for my thing. But Ahsoka leads Republic clones to prevent Maul's forces on Mandalore. Maul senses the impending chaos and makes a calculated play to ensure his own survival. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's how good this episode was. I almost killed that. Like, so good. That synopsis. I'm starting because this episode, these 2 episodes, I said this to Taylor last night. If the next animated series has this quality of animation, style, cinematicness, I would be fine if they said, hey, you know what, it's going to take us another 2 years to get these 12 episodes to be this high quality. But I would rather it do this, because I feel like the first part of the season when it came out, everyone liked it, they thought it was fine. But I don't think, would you agree that it had the hype these 2 episodes had?
Well, no, it didn't. And the
No.
animation was different.
Well, no, but that's what I mean is, like, if it were to take more time, Disney or Star Wars might look at it and be like, oh, it's going to take more time to make a series. But if you're to put out this quality consistency, like a whole season of this of 12 episodes, I think so many people would get on board, because this is movie quality. This is some of, like, and this is such going to be a rare thing. I think this might be the best Star Wars we've gotten since the Disney era. Not going to lie. Like, for me, it's Force Awakens. This is, I would say, probably up there neck and neck, because I love Kylo Ren. I love Rey. I love that dynamic. So because there's certain things where this is a prequel, so I know things, but this is the best part where I'm a big prequel hater, not of like the prequels, which I kind of am, but just prequels in general. This is where I guess you can argue Rise of the Planet Apes might be a reboot, but this is where this is such, like, I know exactly what's happening, but it's adding upon the story, and it's just giving us new, like, waves into it. Because I'll wait to the spoilers, but you know exactly everything Darth Maul's saying is going to happen and how it's going to go down, but it's still intriguing and it's enthralling, which can be not the case to me in so many prequels where they're laying out and they're like really hinting at it. But this doesn't just feel like The Hobbit, where it's like, there's a man in dark and they call him Strider. It's like, why are you telling Legolas this? This doesn't matter at all. But this feels like it's talking about events to come, but not in it is in an obvious way, but not in a way where it just feels like, oh, you remember this? Like, Order 66 coming up. No, it just feels like it's a story in this world at the time. I think these past 2 episodes have been phenomenal. Like I said, I would say they're up there with Force Awakens, because I have personal ties to those, and I think there's some really great stuff in there. But the rest of the Star Wars Disney era, I've liked some stuff. Mandalorian, I think, had some episodes that were great, but I don't think anything as great as these past 2. And I'm excited to get into spoilers, because this was a phenomenal episode, and you can go back, listen from the very first episode. I think Clone Wars is a good to very good series, but I don't think it's as great as everyone talks about. These episodes, and I definitely last season before in season 5, but these episodes are top tier Star Wars. So Taylor, what do you think about this episode?
Yeah, so I was waiting to stay up and everything like that, and I was starting to get super tired and was passing out. And then finally, when the episode dropped and I put it on, it completely woke me up. I got so invested into this story and what was going on, and it's just, yeah, it's. I want to say it's my favorite episode. Well, yeah, I think just the dialogue and it probably is my favorite episode, I have to say, Clone Wars. It's just the dialogue and everything that was unfolding was just so intense and just nerve-wracking, because you know what's coming. You're not sure when it's going to happen, but you know it's going to hit. And
the fight.
The fight, yeah, just the way that, like, obviously we know, like, ladies and gentlemen, Ahsoka and Maul are going to fight. And just when you see like the way like the movements are happening and the way Maul is like swinging in and his back leg, I love how it's like kicking up and he's spinning around. It just looks so seamless, as opposed to older Clone Wars episodes when they're just like zoo,
rigid,
zoo. Just doing swings and like body like maneuvers that are unrealistic. These felt so realistically fluid.
It's a minor spoiler, but that one moment when Ahsoka grabs the lightsaber like force pull and Maul like jumps through it, like it goes through his legs, man. And this is like a shout to Ray Park, and I can't remember how to find her name who did the mocap for Ahsoka, because we were talking about this last night, and Tay's like, oh, it felt like it was mocap, and it is. And that's what I mean. Like, I assume this is a bigger budget animation episode, probably took a lot longer, but I want more of this because it is up there for lightsaber duels. Because I know one day we're going to do rankings of movies, so this wouldn't be in there, but this is probably in a top 5 for me. And I honestly didn't think it was going to be. I just thought, like, okay, same thing. Like I said, it's a prequel. We know neither of them's gonna die here, right? It's like we knew everything about this fight in the story of what would happen, but they still made it entertaining. And plus, like their fighting styles really meshed well. I
Mhm.
legitimately just like we talked about this last week. I want them to do the Crimson Dawn series, and I want Ahsoka to be the fucking lead. I know that's probably not going to be the case because they got Rosario Dawson. She playing an older Ahsoka, but I would love it if it was Ahsoka's trying to hunt down Maul or Crimson Dawn, whatever it is. Like they had such a good dynamic too. So yeah, that fight was so juicy, so good.
Yeah, it touching again upon what you said about just knowing what's like coming and just like what Maul was like, what he knows and all that stuff, and just kind of like as opposed to where in other scenarios like where they just kind of like dish it out like, oh, go find this Strider in the
Yeah.
woods, like in this scenario, like the way they tackled it and did it, and the way Maul delivered his dialogue, it was so like it was so nerve wracking, and on top of that, like I'm huge into Order 66. That's one of the reasons why Revenge of the Sith is easily my top 3 Star Wars movies of all time. I
Mhm.
just that is just, and the way in the whole flow of Star Wars movies, that is like, yes, we have obviously New Hope planets blowing up, and then we have 5 blowing up in Force Awakens. But for me, when the Jedi Purge happens, that for me is like the most pivotal moment in all of Star Wars. And when you get to see that on screen, it's nuts. And so when that's like replicated in this sense, this just has me like freaking out. And this show and this episode, like, building up to that, it's terrifying. And I have to say, like, the equivalent that they did in like Fallen Order, for example, like obviously we know that they were leading to Order 66 and that was like intense, but it didn't
Mhm.
compare to the suspense of this episode and what they were alluding to, and just the dialogue that Maul was spitting out, kind of referencing like what's possible, what's going to happen, and just like you're just like it sucks because they're playing that game with you where like, okay, like things are turning like down this path, and things are going to change, but like, oh, if only they were this close, they were so close to and it's like, oh, like it pulls you want to pull your hair out. And I love when moments do that, and that's what Revenge of the Sith did throughout most of it. It's just yeah. And then this again, the story just kind of being same time as other events happening, and it's just intense. It's just so intense.
Well, it's like for the Maul thing, it's like the Peter Quill Infinity War moment. It's like, oh man, we were so close, but he had to freak out, and then he had to hit Thanos, and it screwed everything up. And that's what this is like. And that's the thing where we're talking about like the Strider thing. I guess the best way I can say it is, to me, Hobbit saying, "Oh, there's this Man in Black Strider." That's just a pure Easter egg to be like, you get it. We're talking about Aragorn, but everything in this feels like they're talking about it in the story sense and the character's perspective. Like they're talking about it. It builds upon Maul's character and his motivation. Ahsoka. It's not just like, oh yeah, I know this thing's gonna happen, and then it's like, cool, then we fight. It's like, no, that's some of the motivation for why a certain character makes a certain choice and then goes against another choice. Like they build upon it so well. I was gonna say, I guess we should probably get into spoilers before we get too heavy.
Yeah.
All right, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, comes back, but we're going into spoilers now because it's so good. So yeah, that's the biggest thing where we had speculated. I didn't think it was going to happen because the way the season started. I thought that, but I think it's so cool that this is happening at the exact same time as Revenge of the Sith, because I also thought that there might be a time where, because last week it was the beginning, it was right before they go and get Dooku, so I thought, okay, this is all going to take place in the beginning, but it's happening at the same time. Now I do think that is a little, I only have minor complaints this episode, like a spoiler, this is a full on like 2 thumbs up, but my only minor complaints, it's just one of those things of like, oh, all these events are happening, but then it's like, oh, but also Maul was still around and Ahsoka. I just don't get the sense when I watch Revenge of the Sith that Obi-Wan was also dealing with Maul and Ahsoka in the background. And especially, I know I agree with you that I'm a fan of Obi-Wan in this episode, and I love that he has this kind of dread and he's kind of feeling uneasy, but I did feel it. It just felt like, okay, Ahsoka's on Revenge of the Sith, so Obi-Wan's going to tell Ahsoka everything that happens in the first 2 acts. Like, oh my goodness, he killed Dooku, and now the council wants to spy on Palpatine. We think Palpatine might be up to something. I don't know what's happening with Anakin. Like, it was just like laying out every single thing. Like, I know Ahsoka and Obi-Wan are close because this show, but I never thought they were like the super closest that he would go against the council to tell Ahsoka. And that's, to me, just like, that's the whole kind of prequel thing, the same thing where I feel like Anakin acts like a little different in the prequel. So I think in this show, show it works, but I think again when it's matched against the movie, it kind of grinds against it. Like I said, it wasn't a big negative, but it just felt like he gave it. I like the way he was acting. I just think he gave a big expedition dump. I don't think he had to dump everything, but
he wasn't really saying it, because he had that strong relationship with Ahsoka. Yes, that was taken into account, but I think he was more worried about Anakin because he was implying and wanting Ahsoka to talk to him or to do something, right?
Yeah.
So I think he was more concerned about Anakin's scenario, and that's why he was approaching Ahsoka with all this information.
I think it's just that the Clone Wars continually try to apologize for the prequels because that's one of the things in the Revenge of the Sith that doesn't happen. He's just fine until he finds out that they're killing younglings. To me, Obi-Wan doesn't have much of a worry about Anakin until that he doesn't worry until he just knows he's a killer. He's not kind of like, oh, I wonder if Anakin's on a bad path.
Well, no, he worries. He worries. Like in the Jedi Council when they're like, oh, how can you be on the council but not be a master? And Obi-Wan, like if you look at his face, he looks like really concerned, like distressed, right?
There's a difference of thinking your Padawan might be mad or upset to thinking he may be going down a dark path. And that's what this posits forward of like, oh, like there's something brewing pretty much, So that's where I think, again, I like it for the show, but I think it pressed against. And like I said, I just don't know if I get he'd want her to talk to him or Ahsoka to talk to him. I just thought it was a little too much information for one. Just felt like he's being too open for the guy who lied to Luke about, his sister and his father. Obi-Wan's a kind of a shady guy. He's even lied to Anakin at times. So just to give Ahsoka kind of like everything, I was like, I don't know if I buy that, but I went with it because it worked for the story and it worked for Ahsoka. So, where do you want to go to next?
I want to start right at like this core, plot point of the fact that Maul had no idea really about. He knew of this ultimate plan, but there was still a lot he didn't really know about what this plan was that Sidious was doing, which I love. I think that's great that he knew only what he was meant to know. And on top of that, now you have him having this like vision to like, oh, that Anakin is going to be the new Sith Lord and Palpatine's apprentice. And you have Maul staging this entire war to just bring him here to kill him, to deny Palpatine, like, as he said, his prize. And I absolutely love that. Oh, it was so good that Maul was saying that. Even when he was talking and when he said Darth Sidious for the first time in the episode, he could barely say it. He was freaked out, which is so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, he like gasped in the middle. I love that. It's kind of like a baby Hitler storyline of like kill Darth Vader before he's Darth Vader. I love that Maul had this vision. And I love that also I think we've talked about this a few times last few weeks, but I think they need to do a what if series and they should do a episode of what if Darth Maul got Anakin to this war and killed him. They've set it up perfectly for an animated episode for Maul to get there, he kills Anakin, and just to see what would happen. You have Obi-Wan, you have Ahsoka, you have Sidious. I think that's what I mean. I hope this Marvel What If series is a huge hit. I don't know if Star Wars would copy it and call it Star Wars What If, but just do it. You're Disney. Who cares? Like, I think this would be a prime episode to be like, okay, what would have happened if Maul killed him? Because that would have changed everything. And to have Maul going around. But I agree with you. I love the motivation. I love that. He just feels that he's on a higher thinking level than everybody. Just in this episode, I'm not saying Maul the entire character, but it's because it's what he knows, right? So he knows that. Yeah, there's a war going on, but there's like a much greater war potentially about to happen, or just like a war that they don't even know, right? Like technically Palpatine's going to come in and take everything, or 66, and they don't even know where Maul. I like that. I imagine that he knew that they're like Palpatine told him there was a plan to take over, but he didn't know the exact things. And I like that he alludes like neither did Dooku and stuff. So he knows they're both pawns. And I also love, obviously we didn't get the full information like you've talked about in the comic books of saying the Emperor being like, oh, they were going to find the witch and send him to Dathomir. But I did say a few weeks ago when we reviewed season 5 that I did really want them at least in the show say how he escaped. And I like that's how we opened up the episode, was talking about how they busted him out. These Mandalorians are really loyal to him. I love the speech that they gave to him. But like I said, the Emperor, that's fine because the show's not from his perspective. So I don't need that explanation. But I did want like, okay, how'd he bust out? And obviously you had told me because the comic book, but I like in the show because that's always my main proponent as a guy that's watching Clone Wars for the first time. I feel like you always got to take care of the mainstream fan first. Same as MCU. Like without the mainstream fans, you're of course there's tons of hardcore Marvel and DC and Star Wars fans, but we've seen with stuff like a Birds of Prey or Justice League, or like with I'm trying to think what was the last Marvel movie to bomb, like X-Men Dark Phoenix. just because you got the hardcore fans doesn't mean you'll be a massive success. Same thing with
Mhm.
Solo, right? So you got to appeal those mainstream people. So it's a little thing, but to me, this is a show that Darth Maul was in and a huge villain. You still got to say, how did he escape from this? So I loved everything Mandalore. I fucking love. I We'll talk about the other cameo, but that first cameo I saw when he's talking to everybody, them just sprinkling the Solo dust. And Solo, I think, is a very minor Star Wars movie, but Dryden Voss being there was fantastic. And then the Prince of what's his name? Do you know?
Prince Zizor or Caesar, I think
Yeah.
it's a weird name.
So like this is just from me reading and seeing the hype, but people are getting hyped because this prince is part of the Shadow Empire book series, and that introduced Dash Rendar, who is like kind of like people say like a knockoff Han Solo, but people really like him. So man, I don't know what's happening, but again, this feels like what we've talked about with this season, that kind of MCU connected universe. Between now we have Mandalorian, we already had Solo, now we have a book. That this is the perfect way, like it's just the little stuff. Again, people can look at this little beating and maybe nothing comes of it. I hope not. But the fans, okay, he's meeting with other crime bosses. But that's where it's good. You service the mainstream people. You go, okay, he's meeting with crime bosses, building empire. And then the hardcore people can go, oh, that's that character. That's that character. So when I'm sitting beside Emily, I can go, that's the villain from Solo. And you fill in those people. It's not Maul just appearing in Solo like, how's he alive? What's going on? No, you do like just the little things. And then you build up those big moments. So again, I don't know. And that's where I'll give credit Dave Filoni. Yeah, I've bragged on him a bit. And I think with his live action directing, he does need to up his game. But whether it's him, George Lucas, whoever's working on this series, especially his last 4 episodes, have just nailed this MCU continuity. And I want him, I don't know if I want him to be the heading, but I do want him and Favreau to be like the heading of Star Wars, because I don't know what this is leading up. We talked it last week. If this is the Crimson Dawn series, if Mandalorian season 2 might have some Darth Maul stuff, maybe we just get a fucking Dash Rendar show. I don't know, but I want all that or one of whatever it is. So I loved all those Easter eggs and cameos.
Yeah, I first watching, like, I didn't recognize like Prince Zizor. I didn't recognize Dryden Voss, but I mean, to me, knowing that those are those same characters, I think that just goes to show, like, okay, that this story arc, like the other arcs, I'm assuming were made, pre-Disney, and now
Yeah.
we have this arc that has just been made like for the purpose of ending this show by Disney, and I think that's just fantastic. And yeah, the those little nods towards this extended universe, I think, is huge, because Star Wars, like I said before, it's like it's such a rich world, and it needs to have so many elements like connected and intertwining with each other. I mean, why the hell would you not? It doesn't make sense not to. So for
Yeah.
them to do this finally in this like area of the show, it's so well done. And again, that adds on top of Maul, where he's talking about knowledge is going to be a very powerful like commodity kind of thing, and he's sending off his head honchos into hiding, which again I think is like super super like awesome that he's doing that. But
Preparing for the chaos, he said, or
preparing for the
whatever.
chaos so that he
Yeah.
can capitalize on it, right? And then
Mhm.
I really like how he it's unfortunate that he abandons like his Mandalorians pretty much at this point, but they've served their purpose to him. But I
Yeah.
really, really like how he sets up the ploy. He gives the clone trooper, or he gives Jesse back, and then he knows Rex will take him out, and then he sets off the explosions, knowing that Bo-Katan will go off after them, so he can talk to Ahsoka. He's just orchestrating, right? And
Mhm.
on top of that, when he's just standing there, and I feel like this is just such a funny, like realistic approach. I feel like there's such good reflection here. This is going to like conspiracy kind of territory. Good like reflection here into like the real world, where Maul is just looking at all these explosions and the people fighting, and just talking about how ignorant they are. He sent these Mandalorians just to go out and die, and then Gar Saxon was calling him for help, and he just shut off the comm. Because they're being played, and they think that they're believing in this certain route in a certain way, and they're just being played out and played for it.
Yeah.
And I love when Maul's just there saying, they're all like, look at all these people ignorant, just dying for nothing.
Mhm.
It's just so good. And then that setup leading towards Maul having that dialogue again with Ahsoka was great. I thought Ahsoka was going to ask, who is Darth Sidious, but she just says like, what do you want with Anakin, which I guess makes sense because she really cares about him. So
Yeah, so yeah, I knew immediately it was going to be Anakin because it has to be the turning point, and I love that. I'm trying to think. before. Oh, that was the only other point about the Easter eggs. Again, it's the same with the MCU. In Winter Soldier, you heard the name Stephen Strange before, like years before you got Doctor Strange. You met Claw and Vibranium in Age of Ultron, and then years later. So again, I don't know if it's leading to anything, but that's the way to do it: is sprinkle little things and then build upon them. Yeah, Ahsoka was really good in this episode. This was definitely more a Maul episode, but she had a big showing. I just feel that I don't know. We'll talk about too where Maul ends up at the episode in a bit, but I just don't know how they're not doing anything else with Maul. I feel like this is a clear like setup with it just feels like the world they're setting up with the animation or a live action, whatever it is. It feels like Maul's essential to it in between another Dark Time show, but stuff that I really want to see. So I don't know. Do you feel like we're gonna get more Maul? I don't know, with the hype, with what the show's saying, I don't see how you can't, honestly.
No, I don't see why would you spend you don't spend so much money on the last 4 episodes
Yeah.
of a show closing out. It doesn't make sense. You don't change over its style to mocap and bring in Ray Park and all this mumbo jumbo. It doesn't make sense. So I 100% think we're gonna get more Maul. I think that for me personally, like obviously, like this could be a way for them to test, having a much more fluid connection of the actors, Sam Witwer and then Ray Park as Maul. And I feel like if it's successfully tested well on screen here in this sense, then I feel like, okay, it's not far off before they actually try to transition this onto a live screen sense and have like Ray Park doing the moves and Sam Witwer just, doing the vocals. So, because it was easy enough to do it in like a blue hologram thing on the Solo, but I feel like to do it in like a more upfront live action fighting scene, it'd be a little bit more demanding. So I feel like this is just kind of them experimenting and paving the way. And again, Disney I don't know why when fans are like, we need more of this, they're like, oh, we're going to give you an alternate universe that's completely different storyline, which again, I'm not bashing because that's fine. It's more Star Wars, but it's just at the end of the day, I just wish that they would listen and do what they're doing right now. Give us like more Maul, give us this intertwined Star Wars connected universe. It's so simple and it's right there to be done. So they need to do it.
I would say though that might be Disney Plus though, because Disney Plus, hopefully it's still happening, but as of right now, all the reports are it is still Obi-Wan. That's the show everyone or the movie everyone wants. So it's a show. Mandalorian, I'd say most of hardcore fans really love. Like I really enjoy it. I don't think it's the best Star Wars, but I think most hardcore fans love it and think it is like the best Star Wars of the Disney era, or up there with some of the best. And you have Ahsoka coming into season 2 of that. You have this. So I think with Disney Plus, they're using that as the testing ground for this. And so far it's working in my opinion. So so Ahsoka, really interesting episode for her because lots of action. Pretty much, she's just after Maul most of the time. But what is interesting is they didn't do the fight, and then I do have to mention they made Maul, in my opinion, little baby Kylo Ren. Because I know you said that there is Sith mind wipe or whatever mind reading it is, but like as far as the movies goes, there's never been like you were talking to me about Vader possibly doing it, but we don't see it. So he did the same thing Kylo Ren does in Force Awakens. When Bo shoots at him, he does like the laser, not deflect, but he like turns him away, which Kylo Ren doesn't do. But him catching a laser is pretty much the same. And then
Vader did it first, though. I'm gonna fight you on that one.
Later blocked though, where Kylo Ren stopped the bullet and control it. That's what Maul's doing. He's controlling the bullets and moving them. So again, very similar. And then he did the Last Jedi hand holdout. And I'm telling you, Clone Wars fans, if you hate Last Jedi, you might not like to hear this. Whoever's making this, aka Dave Filoni, I think was a massive fan of The Last Jedi because this is 2 weeks in a row where there's been exact parallels to Last Jedi. Last week with Anakin, the Walker with Luke, and now this week the same thing with Kylo and Rey. This was Ahsoka and Maul. It was like the hand, they did the pan out, like it was that whole they're standing across from each other. Like they fucking love The Last Jedi. So I'm sorry if you hate it, but they're big fans of it over there. And same with Filoni or Favreau. Remember he put like Canto Bite mentions in Mandalorian and stuff like that. Like I'm sorry, but they like it. But so what I found interesting and what made Ahsoka, I already found her. I like the character. I've liked her more and more as the show's progressed, and I've been more interested in her. What made me even more interested in her is she was, in my opinion, maybe it was a fake, but she was going to join Maul until he said that he has to kill Anakin Skywalker. Because that's the thing. Like, I think she believes Darth Maul is violent. He is a radical, and he maybe not be trustworthy, but he's probably not a liar. And that's what I feel. And that's where the Anakin thing, she said he was lying, but it felt just more like an emotional, like she's denying, like, no, your vision has to be flawed. But I felt this whole episode, she believed everything Maul was saying. So for her to be like, I will join you, but you got to answer one question. To me, unless the next few episodes they say, oh yeah, she was just faking them out, I don't think so. It's the same way with Rey, and you can say whatever you want about Rise of Skywalker and retcon, but I bought as a way of like, she didn't take his hand, but then Rise of Skywalker, she says like, I didn't take your hand because I want to take Ben's hand. So it's the same way of like, you could make it like, oh, Ahsoka was never going to take the hand. But I don't think she was gonna like exactly take the hand, but I think she was definitely gonna work with Maul, and I think she believed him, and I think she knows that he's been cast out by the Sith the same way she was cast out by the Jedi. They have a similar path, so that's why again I thought they should do a show with her as the lead because I think they have very similarities. But I think they just added so much to her character tenfold by her having her possibly join it with Maul. So I loved everything about. We talked about the fight already, but that interaction you talked about too, the dialogue, but on her side. I love that. We got a new shade of her and fantastic.
Well, that's the thing, like you're absolutely right. She definitely was listening to Maul, and even when she pulled out her lightsaber to say like you're wrong about Anakin, she wasn't saying it like defiantly, like she knew the real truth. She said it like she was uncertain and believed Maul, which I love. And even then, like her listening to Maul and believing him, I Maul is very good at motivational speaking. He's very good at like pulling people over, and the thing with this is Maul, the way I see him now as he's changed, is he's very much one who believes in the way of the Force and how it flows, and just like I think most of like these 2 episodes I feel like really did a good job emphasizing Maul's curiosity to how Ahsoka ended up here and not Obi-Wan and Anakin, and how the Force changed that. And he lightly touches on that, saying like everything you've done has led you to this moment, and I like that a lot. But I like the idea of how Maul has just become this person who just believes in the Force. And you kind of see that represented a lot more in Rebels, I would say. But he kind of rolls with the way things go with the Force, and just like, okay, these things are happening, so I'm going to try and take control and do this. But when he tries to take control, he can't, because the Force is always changing, and that it's great. And again, like, even though it's like the Force changing, it's those things that make him feel like he can't beat Sidious. He can only just seize what power he can at this time. And I love that dialogue again, where he's like, we can't, you can't defeat him. The time of the Jedi is over. And Ahsoka keeps on like trying to defend the Jedi, saying, if you tell me what you know or whatever, come with me, we can save the Jedi. And he's like, no, the Jedi are done. It is finished. And it's so scary when he's saying that, because it's like, oh, at any second, these clones are going to turn on Ahsoka. So.
Yeah. There's a what if episode too. Ahsoka showing up to the council with Maul, like, hey,
yeah, I got him.
This guy has some information. Let's hear him out. And just like, oh boy, didn't you kill Qui-Gon Jinn? Yeah, forget about that. That's not the point.
I'm with you guys now. Ahsoka said I could join if I told you what I know.
yeah. Can I be on the council? They give him the rank of master before Anakin.
God.
Again, that'd be a great what if too. What if he did join the council? Like, not join it, but what if he went to the council, work with them, and they like did a Loki storyline with him where he did end up becoming like a Jedi? Like, there's so much what ifs. I hope this happens in the future, even if it's a comic book series. I don't know, but what do you think's gonna happen with Maul? Because he got captured again. So obviously, I imagine it's just as easy as he has this new criminal empire he's building, so he could be busted out again. But do you think we've seen the end of Maul for these 2 episodes, or think he'll appear one more time?
No, he's going to appear one more time. I guarantee it. I think that the way things are going with him, like that end scene where he's falling and he's just screaming, let me die. Like, it's just so like, it's just mind blowing. Like, just the things that this guy has
nothing to lose anymore.
He's got nothing to lose. Like, he's just, again, all these Star Wars villains, he's one that I definitely really feel for, because he's gone through so much shit. And I mean, it's one thing for, one guy to get like sliced on the face like Kylo and to kill your dad, but like to be cut from the waist down and to be in actual hell, and then like have everything on your family taken away from you, and then all that crazy shit, and just being tortured and trained by Palpatine.
Kylo was in love. Sometimes that's just as dangerous as getting cut in half,
Yeah.
Just as painful.
I think we're definitely going to have more of him, though. I mean, it only makes sense. I think he's going to play a pretty big role in the story still, and I feel like they're going to play a game with us, and I think that it's going to be okay. He's going to be on the ship. They're going to be, going to back up to the cruiser or something like that. And now here's the interesting part. I think we're going to get Maul and Ahsoka team up briefly to escape the clones. Wow, so that's my prediction. Because it's
really Last Jedi.
It's really Last Jedi. So I think they're going to team up to escape, and I think that Rex is somehow going to come with them. I think maybe he's already pulled out his chip or something, but I'd love.
I think he had to with the time frame, just because I feel like this is literally hours before Order 66. So I feel like he just couldn't pull that off in time to like, oh, pull it out and then go back on duty like everything's fine. Like I think
Bleeding from his head.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I know. I think that's already happened off screen. Maybe they'll like flash back to it and he'll like look around what's going on. But I think it'd be a little. They might do, but I think it'd be really oddly paced if he did it in one of these episodes. Because like I said, I feel like that would feel too eye rolly of like, oh, it's like literally an hour before, and he's like, I better take out this chip just in case. Like unless Maul literally tells him like you're gonna kill these people. Like unless he gets some information where he knows directly, oh, it's about to happen, then I'm fine with it. But if he just takes it out hunky dory and that's like it just happened. Who would have thought? So I hope the team up happens. I'm not gonna get too hyped because I don't want to get excited, but I think we'll just get revealed how Maul escapes and that's it. But I want what you're saying.
Yeah, I just think that I just think that they're gonna team up, and that's the scene that I'm dreading. Is that you have all of these freaking clone troopers that just have these helmets dedicated to Ahsoka, and the next like they're doing such a good job building up that relationship, trying to make us care about this whole relationship. And then in like a mere little bit, that's just going to turn around because freaking these clones that are wearing this face paint of Ahsoka on their helmets, they're just going to turn and just try to gun her down. It's going to be nuts. And I can't wait to see her like escape and just, oh, it's going to be so just crazy. And that's again why I'm hoping that we get that team up with Maul, because, the clones are going to be turning on them, and Ahsoka's gonna be like, for all I know, they could be just on the gunship and they could be landing in the hangar bay, and then frickin' the clones just turn and start shooting at Ahsoka, and then who knows, maybe Maul tries to save her first or something like that. Like I think they're two people that showed that they were willing to cooperate and work together, and now Ahsoka has so many doubts, and when the clones turn, it's the only logical thing. I think they want people to be excited for that and just think like, oh, they're not going to expect Maul and Ahsoka teaming up. And so we'll have one episode where she turns them down unconfidently, and then we're going to have it in the next episode where they're forced into it. So
and then they kiss like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, they kiss and then Maul disappears.
Yeah. Yeah, into Rebels. into Solo, yeah. Yeah, I think I hit all my points. Scores great as usual. It had that cool opening, but yeah, anything else major you want to touch upon?
No, I don't think I have it. And just, the score was absolutely awesome. The episode just left me in shambles. Just Ahsoka just standing up top. That fight on that catwalk area was so good. It was really awesome. And when the clones just came up, and again, like that, again, the whole scene where Ahsoka's holding him with the Force, and he's screaming like, let me die, and the clones like, or the Mandalorians zip tie him, and then Rex just like fry or like stuns him. Just so good. And again, it just seems so close that they were going to be able to make a difference and change everything. But there's apparently, I couldn't hear it, but re-listening to the episode, apparently you can hear Palpatine shriek when Maul is supposed to ignite his saber. And the parallels of that too, when the glass breaks in that throne room, it's supposed to be when the Senate glass breaks inside Palpatine's office with Windu. So there's just so many cool like equivalent like moments happening, and it's just that apparently when they're on that catwalk, and I sent you an image when Ahsoka's being asked by Maul, like, give you one more chance to join me or die. That's when Palpatine is asking Anakin, like, join the dark side or whatever. And like, it's just, the parallel's so crazy and just spooky, and
as she's defending his honor, he's turning into the dark side and everything like that.
Yeah, it's like when you're like you're a girl and you're out with your lady friends, and they're like, oh no, he's cheating on you, and she's like, no, I got a great guy, and he's out sleeping with some other chick. It's just horrible. So
sleeping with Darth Maul.
Sleeping with Darth Maul.
I'm gonna give this episode 2 thumbs up. You look at that. I can't give 2 thumbs up at the same time here at there you go. You do the clapping. I don't know. Now how does the thumb go away eventually on Zoom? What happens to it?
I noticed it just stays here until the call ended. Oh, it's gone now.
It does go away. So there you go. And here's the second thumb. Boom. 2 thumbs up. Love this episode. I'd have to watch them back to back, but this is either the best episode or the second best episode behind last week. And yeah, phenomenal job. I can't say enough of it. I cannot wait for next week.
Yeah, this is definitely just, an applause for me. It was just such a, It's such a good episode. Probably my favorite episode. I love the dialogue. I love the fighting. The fighting was just mind-boggling. I love seeing these characters. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. That Bo-Katan scene when she was going after Gar Saxon and she's under the elevator and that score kicks in and she's like holding it and she's like, it stops at the bottom. She jumps out and the look on that Mandalorian trooper's face, they're like, what the hell? Why is Bo-Katan coming out from underneath this elevator? But that scene, I totally forgot about Bo-Katan in so many parts of this episode. Jesus, like I love that when she holds the elevator. It was so cool. And then I love that whole scene in that fight sequence with Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon, like, he's such an interesting character in this. And again, like when he went to kill like the prime minister, they didn't do a good job at keeping him safe. They had everything wide open for him just to get popped, you know? So yeah, but that's it's 2 thumbs up for me. This episode is my favorite episode, I think, of Clone Wars of all time so far. And it's just, I think it's going to be topped off again by next week's episode, which I may probably, you may not hear from me again. I may just die after watching it.
Wow. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week and the week after. I'm sad it's coming to an end now because these quality episodes are great. But like I said, I'm just hoping the next animated series is like this, that whether it's these characters or not, I want to be this quality. So thank you as always for tuning in. Subscribe, like, rate, review. Give us a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. That's the one that really helps us out, lets us grow, gets us the new people. We're like 28 away from our goal of 200. So if we could hit that, that'd be great. So thank you very much for tuning this episode. We'll be back next week for another episode. May the force be with you.
Always.